On today's episode, we talk to our relationship expert, Tina Brigley. We have music from the Young Goats, and we talk to our journalism buddy, Nathan Carr, sits down with us on today's episode of the A2G podcast.
Jacob's research is awful. Picking dodgeball players, I'm picking the kids that can throw the ball.
I just blew LeBron. I don't care what team.
Okay.
No, it's okay. They did a broadcast this morning and had like one viewer. Good job, guys. That was me again.
Sure.
Did you ever see a cover of Eddie Murphy's Party All the Time? But this is the Lions we're talking about. So anything's possible. Kicker, long snapper.
Nobody else matters, right there?
Not to me. Not to me. It's top five time.
Top five.
Today. Wow. Did you really say that Miss Congeniality is better than The Blind Side? I said she dressed like a hooker. This is at a diner. Show some respect, show some class, and just don't be a bunch of dummies. See, I think there are other better gangster movies than Scarface. For God's sakes, look at your goddamn boots. For God's sakes, it's starting to grow roots. Welcome, everyone, to episode 3, season 2 of the ADG podcast. I'm your co-host, Darrin.
And I'm Jacob.
And we have a fantastic show where we have not one, but 2 interviews today, Jake. I think that's a first for our show.
I'm excited. Oh, we've done 2. We've done 2.
We've done 2 before.
We've done 2. We've done 2. You've done so many.
I know. It's just one big blur.
It is.
But we definitely have a great show coming up. But before we get all to the good stuff, we got to talk sports, Jake.
Yeah, because it's not good stuff. It's kind of shit.
Well, we'll get to that.
Sports were shit this weekend.
We'll get to the shitty part first.
Across the fucking board was shit.
Yeah. So
for me, anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll start in college football. Michigan State took care of business, played against Western Michigan. That was no surprise there. So they're 2-0. But the big story, one of the big stories this weekend was Michigan squeaking by, like barely squeaking by Army. That's right.
It's embarrassing.
Army. Did you know Army had a football team? Because I didn't.
I did. They're actually supposed to be pretty good these seasons.
I guess so.
But
Army is very one-dimensional. They just run the ball. And that's exactly what they did. And by God, they almost beat Michigan, which would be, I think, a bigger upset than Appalachian State beating them.
Yeah, I watched the game, and it was just embarrassing. Like, Michigan couldn't do anything.
No.
They didn't use their weapons. They didn't throw the ball over the place. The quarterback looks lost. Like, I don't know what the hell's going on with this damn program. Yeah, Army's solid, but they're not great.
No, especially you being a Michigan fan, Jake, like how much of a blame does this go on Harbaugh?
Harbaugh takes all the blame. This is his players he brought over. He's calling the plays. He's doing everything. So you have to execute his plan. He brought players that can't execute. Well, get players that can.
Exactly.
They're not utilizing his best players. Well, that's on him because he's calling the plays. Like, what do you want me to do?
Exactly. Especially like at the end when they were celebrating with the crowd, I would run off that field so fast. Like,
would you win? What did they win exactly?
That game.
What did they win? They didn't win anything.
They didn't win.
It was embarrassing.
They actually went down 2 spots to number 10 in the latest.
They should not be in the top 20, 25 even.
Yeah.
They should not. After that, no way.
Yeah, so they went from number 7 in the country to number 10 on a win and overtime against the Army. So that's a whole other story. So Michigan is good luck against Wisconsin next. I think they're going to suffer their first loss there.
I think so. It's going to be close.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless something changes that I don't know about, then it's going to be one in the loss column.
Unless maybe they start a different quarterback, maybe they
that would be nice.
Maybe they start approaching offensive plays differently. I don't know, but they have their work cut out for them against Wisconsin. But from football to some tennis, we talked about tennis last week on the ADG podcast. Jake was making fun of me for watching tennis, whatever.
And I knew you were going to talk tennis this time around, so I'm not drinking coffee. I'm switching to something more potent.
There you go. So, big shout out, big congratulations to Bianca Andreescu for being the first Canadian, male or female, to win a major title in tennis for Canada. So, big shout out to her. Congratulations. It was a thrilling match going up against, honestly, the best tennis player in the world, a living legend in Serena Williams, and 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 uh, and taking her all the way to the limit, but beating her in 2 sets. That was pretty impressive, especially if you watch the match. There was that moment where Serena would start getting momentum. The crowd was into it. It was pretty much Bianca versus the entire United States of America, but she pulled through. So, congrats to her. She is now ranked the 5th best player in the world based on that win at the U.S. Open.
That's not bad. I was
That's pretty
watching.
good.
I saw on Facebook. I don't watch tennis because it's nonsense to me. But there was a lot of people that are my friends list
Yeah.
that were rooting for Serena.
Yeah.
I'm like, a bunch of Canadians. I'm like, well, that's cool. That's whatever. Do what you gotta
Exactly.
do. But
Yeah.
it was weird. I'm like, who watches tennis unless it's important? Whatever.
Well, obviously, it's important. You know, there's people that don't. Well, perfect example: the people that watch the Olympics once every 4 years. We don't care
Hey,
about.
hey. No, I care about the Olympics.
You okay?
I care
Jay
about
cares about the Olympics.
Okay,
But
says the guy
majority,
that watches anything Italy team involved in the Olympics or any
but
other sport.
I
Who was the guy
enjoy,
watching tennis with one Italian player unknown in the tournaments?
I didn't know it. I just turned it on and it was in like overtime. I'm like, oh, okay, this is
That's a lie.
obviously.
That was scheduled viewing.
Oh, maybe not. But probably right. So yeah. So you know what? I think it was just a Canadian moment. That was shared by everyone. It was great to see. A Canadian win the U.S. national title. You know, we could have won a Wimbledon title, but that wouldn't mean much. But to do it on American soil, that's just, yeah, right. Way to go, right there.
Well, Darren, that's
Yeah,
all good and all, but my
yeah,
question is, if
yeah.
it's that significant, are we going to see this moment pasted all over the new Tim Hortons Cup?
Probably. I think she has earned a Tim Hortons Cup, just like Shawn Mendes earned it.
I'm just asking. It's a valid point in our history.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, if for Canadian sports history, without a doubt, without a doubt. Because exactly. So big thumbs up to Bianca. Way to go. We're all proud of you. But Jake, what was Sunday? Sunday was the beginning of the National Football League
beginning
season.
of the end.
but before we talk about our favorite team, let's talk about some NFL news. And you cannot script a movie, a TV show, an after-school special. What happened between the Oakland Raiders and Antonio Brown? This thing started on Friday when he released a video of a call between him and head coach John Gruden about, says like, we love you, AB, we want you to be here. He's like, I want to be here too. And then he takes a photo and posts it up on Instagram of a letter from general manager Mike Mayock, informing him that he's been fined for missing practice and missing a walkthrough. And so he says in this social media post that, whatever, I'm just going to keep being me. If you don't like it, then release me. So a little bit later on, he said that I saw a report that he was suspended. And so like, okay, so he's suspended. So a few hours later, I get a text from a friend, says, yeah, Antonio Brown has been released. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on here? Like in a matter of hours on Saturday, the Raiders play on Monday. So they end up releasing him. And then he puts out another video of him looking at his social media and seeing that he's been released. And then he jumps for joy. He runs out in the backyard like he just won the Super Bowl from being released by the Oakland Raiders. And then
that was strange.
That was strange. I don't know. This guy loves himself more than anyone could possibly love oneself. His ego is the size of, I don't know. It's big. So a couple hours later, everyone's on Twitter. So like, where is he going to go? Who's going to pick him up? And then the joke's like, oh, maybe here comes Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. We all laughed and had a good laugh. A couple hours later, we see a report. He signed a 1-year contract with the fucking New England Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
The goddamn New England Patriots. You know that old saying, the rich get richer? But like, Jake, like, football wise, he's incredible. But as a person and a professional athlete, he is a joke. He's literally a joke. Where just, he's everything you don't want to be off the field. If you're an athlete watching this guy, on the field, he's one of the most gifted wide receivers in the history of the NFL, no doubt. But so my question to you is it going to work in New England? How long does he stay in New England? Or does Bill Belichick just says, you know what, this is not working out and get the fuck out of here?
It's going to work in New England because they don't screw around there. They only have one mentality. They have a mentality to win and nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is. They're there to win. You do it their way and they win. That's just what happens. And to build on that, there's something's happening because they traded today, about an hour ago, to the Jets. Demetrius Thomas was traded from the Patriots to the Jets to make obviously their wide receiver. Yeah. There we go.
You know what? I like that move for the Jets because I think they can get a veteran guy to help Sam Darnold out. And I think that's a nice up and coming young team. The Jets. I think they're going to be interesting to keep an eye on. Maybe there'll be a sneaky team that will squeak in there in the playoffs. But obviously because of the time, Antonio Brown didn't play on Sunday night against the Pittsburgh Steelers, which they didn't really need him. They beat him 33-3, I think. It was just another blowout. So we'll see what happens in week 2 with Mr. Brown in the lineup with Mr. Brady.
It should be interesting.
Well, my question on this one, and we'll move on. Is this going to be kind of like a Brady and Moss thing, or just like?
I think so. I think so. Yeah, but he'll be there for about a year, and then he'll move on. If they don't like him, they'll just move him on. If they like him, he's gonna make a lot of money. If he doesn't cost shit, but whatever.
Yeah.
But we can probably have a little breaking news from last 29 minutes ago.
Okay.
And it's asked to kind of go into our next topic.
Okay.
The Dolphins.
Yes.
Have worked out a former Lion.
Oh boy. Dan Orlovsky? Dan Orlovsky?
No, he's still running out the end zone.
Dan, you're going the wrong way.
They worked out our favorite player.
Oh,
our favorite draft pick of all time, almost. Tease Tabor has worked out today for the Dolphins.
And if you saw the Miami Dolphins play against the Baltimore Ravens, they need all the help they can get. But Tease Tabor is not the answer.
No, he is not the answer. He's just a lot of questions.
He's a lot of questions, but if you need someone just to plug in and play a position, sure, go for it. It's not going to cost you anything. Mm-hmm. But Jake, we got to talk about our team.
We have
the boys in the Honolulu blue and silver, pretty much going Lion in the very first week, in the very first game. Lions, I can't believe I'm saying this. Lions tied. That's right, tied. The first tie that the Detroit Lions have been involved in since 1984. Just to give you a heads up, I wasn't born until 86. So this was something new for me to view. But a tie. And Jake, if you saw that game,
I watched the whole thing.
There was good things in that game, and then there was bad things in that game.
Yeah, let's start with the good things, because that's a shorter list.
Okay.
It's a much shorter list if we look at the positives of this game.
Yeah. Good thing. Well, we'll go back and forth. Good thing for me is that I was very impressed with first round pick T.J. Hawkinson I thought he was outstanding. I think that Bob Quinn really hit a home run with this 8th overall pick.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the highlight of the entire thing. We had in the first half at least was kind of positive. Matthew
The first,
Stafford looked
the
like
fir-
himself in the first
yeah,
half.
yeah, the first 3 quarters it was all Lions.
Yeah, no, he looked decent the entire game.
Yeah,
It's just the first half he did everything he was supposed to.
yeah.
We had decent corner play.
Mhm.
It was a couple mistakes here and there, but for the most part, first half quarterback play was pretty good. Um, I saw a couple plays that our brand new rookie linebacker made. He had a sack.
Mhm.
So that was a positive thing. He just earned us some stripes there, but
Jelani Tavai, yeah,
yeah,
he really
whatever.
stepped up. Yeah.
Yeah, he came out. Yeah, first half there was those positives that came out. It was that's all I got. Really, everything else overshadowed all the
So
positives.
okay, well, I'll help you out with some of the positives.
Yeah, please.
Obviously, the relationship between Daryl Bevels and Matthew Stafford looked good early on. Throughout
Early.
the first 3 quarters, great play calling, and big thumbs up to Matthew Stafford for being an 11-year vet and still running to get those first downs and extra yards.
Slowly, but he got it.
No, he got it. So
Mhm.
like him, I was really impressed with Danny Amendola. I thought he played
First half.
we'll say first 3 quarters.
Oh god.
No, you got to give credit where credit is due.
Yeah, it was okay.
But from that, there's got to be, we just can't have a happy, solid game all the way through. There's got to be
No,
drama. There's
it's
got to be
not
emotion.
possible.
There's got to be heartache, and of course, the special teams play was just atrocious.
Well,
Jake.
that special teams wasn't good. Running backs were not good at all. What do we average? 2 yards a carry? Get
Yeah.
out of here with that.
Yeah.
That was terrible. Do we even have an offensive line? Do we put pylons around Stafford? With that Taylor Decker. Hello.
Oh my
Hold
god.
on. Knocking on the mic here. Are you there, Taylor Decker? No.
My god.
Oh my god. He couldn't stop anybody.
If it
He
wasn't
could not stop anybody.
if it wasn't him getting beat on multiple plays, it was him causing penalties.
I know.
It was one or the other. But getting back to the special teams, the muff punt by Jamal Agnew. Come on, man, you're better than that.
Yeah.
Make a catch.
They build them up on the broadcast, like,
Yeah.
oh, Pro Bowl, whatever. Get out of
Yeah.
here.
Well, so was Jeremy Ross back in the day.
Okay.
Anyone remember him? Exactly.
Yes. Yep.
So
I do.
so from that, we go to the fourth quarter, which the Lions gave up 18 points in one quarter. 18
Right. Where you
points.
can see the defense starting to break down in the second half, where they just
Ah.
couldn't stop anybody.
Yeah.
And they had some good plays in this fourth quarter too, but for the most part, there was no pressure on the quarterback. He had all day. You're making this rookie kid look like, hey, it's a college football game. Hey, I'm going to throw this, sling the ball around. Watch this, 30 yards. Watch this, 25 yards. They're just throwing the ball all over the place. Yeah, he had a pretty good wide receiver, but he just so much time, no pressure, bad coverage. It was just ridiculous. It was, and sorry to say, same old Lion-esque type of play for the last quarter, especially. You can see bits of it in the whole game, but it was just all fell apart.
They really don't know how to close out a game, because I really don't. I believe that they don't know what it's like to play with the lead and to keep a lead, that late into the game, and how to close out.
Don't call a timeout when you don't need to.
You know what? And that was going to bring me to my next point. Like, I understand Bevel is new to this organization this year. He was out. He wasn't even in the NFL last year. So he took a year off. He's back. He's got to trust his quarterback to make the right audible play at the line. The guy,
he did make the right play.
He did make the right audible call. He had the perfect play set up against that defense. Trust your quarterback. He's been there for 11 years. 10 years. This is his 11th year. Trust your quarterback, and I love seeing Matthew Stafford get actually pissed off, because I want to see more of that.
Yeah, he got pissed off, but then he calmed down. Like no, go yell, just go get in his face.
And you saw him on the sideline where he said, "Trust me, trust
Yeah.
me." You know.
Yep.
I don't know what I solely put this loss on Patricia and the coaches.
Oh, for sure. You know Stafford's dialed in, and that's what made me kind of. That was one of my positive was Stafford because he was dialed in. He knew what he needed to do. He had the game. Let him control the game. That's his job. Call the play. Let him figure out the rest on the field. That's his job. He's not new. He's not a rookie. This is his opportunity because he doesn't have that much time left. So
exactly. So now, yeah, they tied, and obviously there was a tie last year between I believe the Vikings and the Packers, and those teams both finished above the Lions and below the Bears. So who knows what this will do for the Lions win total this year in 2019.
I'll tell you later. Don't worry.
Okay. So obviously they still have a lot of things to work on. You know, another guy who was pretty much invisible the whole game was Trey Flowers. All that money that he's making, and he was invisible.
That D line is supposed to be top 5 on paper.
That D line, it didn't
present.
look great. It did look great early on.
Early,
They
but not great.
They made Kyler Murray look so. They made him look like a child.
Well, he is a child.
Murray.
He's like 5'2". Come on. How many more passes to opposite for the defender's hands need to throw? He can't throw over their heads.
Exactly. And
he's
so
5'2".
If they invest all this money in the defensive line, paying snacks and picking up Mike Daniels and paying Trey Flowers, and maybe it would have made a difference if Jared Davis was playing, but still, they should have went to Arizona and take care of business. Now you come home, a home opener, rocking crowd against the LA Chargers, and that they don't have Gordon because but they're still a dangerous team with a dangerous offense. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens on Sunday.
Yeah, I know what is going to happen. I'm going to lay down my prediction if you want it. It's not going to be pretty. They're going to lose by a lot. Oh,
by a lot?
Wow. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go to prediction time for week 2 in the NFL. So go ahead, Jake. What's your prediction for the Lions?
Doesn't fucking matter. They're going to lose by 2 touchdowns. Who cares about the score? They're going to lose.
So it's been 1 week. It's already in the books, and Jake has checked out.
And I'll talk about that at the end of the show.
Okay.
Because that's my rant today.
Oh, okay. It's a little teaser to your rant. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So there you go. So Lions, good luck. Get your shit together. Put out a better effort and close a fucking game this week against LA Chargers. And that's it for sports.
That's it for sports. So, Darrin, we had a little interview.
Yes.
Today.
Yes, I did. Jake was MIA, so I had to do this interview solo, but I think it went pretty well. We had a lot of great questions come in for our relationship expert, Tina Brigley. So we'll play that right now. Here on the ADG podcast, we try to have many different people come on to do interviews in many different topics. This week, we're proud to have relationship expert and transitional expert and anything that you want to know about relationships, love, sex, whatever you need to know. Tina Brigley joins us on the ADG podcast. Welcome, Tina, to the show.
Thanks, Darrin. Glad to be here.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you here. So for those of you who don't know, Tina is well known throughout, let's say, North America. She's pretty popular. Her social media is pretty, you have quite the following. And my question to you is, why do you think people find that connection with you on social media?
I mean, I don't know. I can't speak for them, but what people say to me is that I'm really relatable. And I always share my own personal experiences, what I've been through, and I've literally been through it all. So people find, that really comforting to know that somebody's not only qualified in what they do, but they've also been where they're at right now. So they get to see me as somebody that, you know, they want what I have and they want the tools to get that, and I can provide that for them. So I think that's why they kind of follow me. I'm just real.
That's right. Yes. So give people a background. You're married, you have kids, but during your marriage, you took a separation from your husband. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. You know, I was kind of living this really dream life. I have, you know, the house, the car, the kids,
Mm-hmm.
the money, the job, and I was really miserable and unhappy. And I thought that it was because of my husband. And so I ended up leaving everything and starting over. And what I discovered is that it really didn't have anything to do with him. It was that I was unhappy with myself and had no idea that I was unhappy with myself. I was searching for something, looking for something. And what I was really searching for and looking for was myself. And when I really found who I am, I realized that I really love my husband and want to work on it. So after 3 years of being separated, we took actions to really repair our marriage. And the rest is history. We're back together. We have amazing communication, and things are really, really great. Something we never experienced in our whole relationship. So,
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. So what made you want to be a relationship? Help couples that are married or have been together long term. What made you want to help them?
So this is funny because I started out as a health coach, but everybody that came to me was looking for relationship advice. And I'm like, oh gosh, no, like I am not the one to give you relationship advice. Like that is not me. But I was helping women save their marriage. And then what happened was they were recommending their husbands to come see me. So then I started coaching their husbands. And what I realized is that it's all about relationships, but I was really resisting this transition. I kept saying, no, I'm a health coach. I'm a health coach. I'm not a relationship coach. And then finally, you know, my husband and I were having so many breakthroughs in our relationship with our communication and our intimacy and passion and all of that stuff. And I thought, oh my gosh, if I would have had these tools, things would have been a lot different. I would have saved thousands of dollars on a separation, you know? So I finally had to step into that, even though people for the last year have been saying, you are a relationship coach. I was really resisting that. Yeah. And so now I just really want to give people the tools to be able to have an amazing relationship, because I know when there's a breakdown in the relationship, it also creates a breakdown in other areas of life, you know, our health, our well-being, our business, our relationships with other people. It affects all of our life. So I'm like, I'm going to design a program that is going to save marriages. And so that's what I did.
There you go. So
Yeah.
So it was kind of a beautiful accident how everything all panned out.
It was a beautiful accident. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
So we did, we talked about you coming on our show, and we put out a message to all our followers and our listeners on social media. If they have any questions, to send them in to us. And a couple people did send in a couple questions to me. So this first one is from Chelsea, and she says that I'm meeting my partner's parents for the first time and I'm super nervous. Any advice?
Just be yourself. I mean, it's natural to have those feelings because ultimately, I think we feel like people are judging us. And when you can just be with people and be interested in who they are, you get rid of those nervous jitters and you just get to show up as yourself. I just had a session about this yesterday, which is funny that question came up. It just, when you're yourself, you really get to just shine, and people see that authentic way that you show up for them. So yeah, just be yourself.
Awesome. Very good.
They're going to like you or not.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. There's no point in changing yourself, you know, to impress, you know, your partner's parents or whoever. This next one comes from Daniel. He says, like, I'm in a long-term relationship and it feels like my partner never makes time for me anymore.
Oh, that's a good one. And, you know, I see this a lot on social media. People complain about what's not happening in their relationships instead of really expressing how they feel about that. And, it's relationships are all about communication. And when you come from that vulnerable space where you can really say, I realize that you're busy in your life and you have a lot going on, and I really love spending time with you. How can we create more time in our relationship? How can we spend more time together? When you come from that, kind of angle, you see that there are different ways to get what you want in your relationship, and you get to ask for it. Sometimes people are afraid of asking for it because of the response. And sometimes the response isn't what we expect. They're like, oh, that's so sweet. Like, you want to spend more time with me? I want to spend more time with you, and then it's not like you're doing this, you're doing that. And then people get defensive. It's just like, wow, I really love spending time with you. And I really see that you're busy. How can we make more time for each other?
Exactly. No, that's good. And also they said another thing is maybe take a digital timeout when you're with your partner.
Oh my gosh, that's so important. I don't know how many times I go to a restaurant or I go out in public and I see a couple sitting at the table and they're both on their cell phones. That is a perfect opportunity to share your day. I find that people are really disconnected because of social media. They're so attached to technology that they don't see what's right in front of their face. So I say, make it a point. I know we're attached to those devices, but like put them on silent during dinner. Put them on silent after, like make an agreement. Okay, after 9 o'clock at night, we're gonna put our cell phones down. We're gonna cuddle. We're gonna watch TV together. We're just gonna have conversation.
Right.
That's not always easy for people, and it's so valuable.
It's good. Abigail writes in saying, I'm scared to talk to my husband about money. What's the best way to do it?
So money is one of the biggest reasons why couples argue. And I mean, if I was talking to Abigail, I would ask her, like, what is the fear? What are you scared of? Because that's kind of like a really open-ended question. It might be that he's overspending, or they want to create like a retirement fund, or I don't really know what it is about money that they're concerned with. And it could be that there's not enough money coming in. But I always, like, one of my sessions with my coaching clients is really taking on the money conversation, because that's how you build trust. Sometimes couples have this mother may I, father can I situation with money, where they feel like they have to ask permission to spend money. That's never really healthy for people, because we're independent and this is our life, we get to live. But the conversation really has to happen around money so that you're both on the same page and both in agreement, and you get to create goals moving forward, especially when it comes to retirement and savings and planning and vacation. So fear is definitely real, and have the conversation anyways, whatever's there for you about money.
That's it. Erica writes in, I think this is one that we were talking off air about you're going to do a podcast on this. She writes in, I think my partner may be cheating on me. What should I do?
So I have very different views on cheating, and I think really just come straight out and ask, are you cheating on me? Now, people don't want to know the answer to that question. And a lot of people will lie and say, no, of course not. But really, infidelity is an opportunity for couples to really look at what is missing in your relationship. Because when people stray away, they're not looking for another person. They're looking for a feeling that they don't have in their current relationship. And again, people aren't open to communicating about this. So I would say to Erica, be straight with your partner. Are you cheating? And really watch the body language and the tone and what happens, because when people are hiding something, it's really hard to hide for a long time, right?
Right.
And if it is happening, they're also aware that you're onto it, right? And if there's a situation where you can say, I feel like you're cheating on me, And I know that sometimes it's because there's something missing or there's something that I'm not giving you. What do you feel is missing in our relationship? What do you need from me? That's a whole new angle, because we want to get defensive and like, what a blah, 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 blah. How could he
Right.
do this to me? And we get defensive.
Yeah.
But really, you get to be powerful in that conversation.
Oh, that's an important thing to to think about when you have to. Nobody wants to have that conversation, but you have to. You have to, because you can't just drive yourself crazy wondering, is my partner cheating? Should I say something? Will he?
Yes.
Will he or she stop?
It's all in communication, and we're so afraid to have those tough conversations because we don't really want the answer. There's some people that are like, I think my partner's cheating on me, and unconsciously they're actually happy about that because that would be their way out of the relationship if they want out of the relationship. But they pretend that it's not. So I mean, it works both ways, right? And it's just all in conversation. And if you want the marriage or the relationship to work, we really have to do the work to make it happen.
That's true. And I have this last question from Stacy, where she says, I've asked my partner to change a couple things about his behavior, like how he parties a lot and drinks a lot, but he hasn't stopped any of them. I know he really loves me, so why won't he change?
So it sounds like Stacy is in the stage of like negotiation, you're doing this, I'll give you this if you stop doing this, and that never ever works.
Right.
So it's the same thing as infidelity. I call it an exit strategy. People do things to avoid building intimacy in the relationship. So if he's going out to a lot of parties, not inviting her, there's something missing in that relationship. There's a breakdown that he's not even communicating. And the parties are an excuse to avoid really taking on the relationship. Because if we think about it, if Stacy's not being invited to these parties and he doesn't want to spend time with her, then there's something that's missing. So, and then she gets a choice. If he's willing to work on it, then great. And if not, oh geez.
That's our nice musical interlude right there.
That's our interlude. That's my timer saying, you're talking too much.
No, it's okay. Finish what you were saying.
And it's just, it could possibly be his escape. Sometimes it's partying, sometimes it's golf, sometimes it's working a lot. Sometimes it's spending more time with the kids than with you. We all have sometimes these exit strategies that we use to avoid intimacy in our relationships, but we're not even aware that we're doing this. So I think, really having that conversation and letting him know what you want instead is really important. There can be a compromise. Sometimes negotiating doesn't always work. It backfires because nobody wants to be told what to do. So sometimes they rebel against that. Yes. But there are ways to communicate what you want and get what you want. And he still gets to party once in a while.
There you go. So to try to find the middle ground is what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Yes. Actually, I just came across this question that I must have missed, but I think this is a good one because I think all couples and relationships go through this. So we have a final question again from Julia, where she writes in and says, I find myself getting crazy jealous when my partner talks to other women, even though I know it's nothing. How do I stop?
Oh, Julia, I love this question because really what's at the source of that jealousy, that insecurity, is perhaps a lack of confidence. And I know we don't like to admit this, but when we start feeling really strong and powerful and confident, other women don't intimidate us. But that takes some work to really get to that place. We do things unconsciously. It's like a fight or flight response. That primitive brain is always reacting. It's the oldest part of our brain, and it's like it senses danger. So when your partner is talking to other women, you probably have an experience where you were cheated on in the past, or you had an experience where something happened, and now every time he talks to somebody, you're getting re-triggered, reactivated. So really understanding things that happened in the past that might be affecting those triggers, being aware of them will help you to get rid of that feeling, that emotion that comes up. And also, like I said, really knowing who you are and owning your value. I don't even know you, but I already know you're amazing. And, I want you to know that it's a real thing that people experience. And you can also take your power back and be that person that's just going to be like, wow, my partner's talking to another woman and I'm still amazing and I don't have to feel threatened right now. So just that self-talk that there's nothing threatening you and everything is still good.
That's it. So there you go. So we appreciate all the questions that our listeners and viewers of the ADG podcast wrote in. Tina, we thank you for joining us on the ADG podcast. Where can people find you, and if they want to get in touch with you, like if they want to get any advice, where should they go?
So I have a website. It's tinabrigley.com, Brigley. I also have a Facebook group called Relationship Transformation, Unlocking the Secrets to Success, where I post a lot of intimate stories and tools and strategies and resources in that group. And you can also just call me, 519-819-3184. I would love to talk to you and really help you create whatever it is that you're looking for in your life.
There you go. So there
Yay.
you go. So everything that you need to know is right there. Thanks for joining us on the ADG podcast, and hopefully we'll talk again soon.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, Darrin, that was fun.
It was good. It was a lot of good information. She has a very glowing, very warm personality when it comes to talking about relationships and looking at it from different angles. So it was big thanks to her for joining us on the podcast.
Awesome. Cool. Let's switch to something different. Let's do the top 5.
Top 5.
All right. And this week's top 5, I want to get jump in time a little bit. Since we talk about movies a little bit more, because we do our little trailer review, which we will do later on. Mm-hmm. I got a top 5 that goes back almost 20 years or so. Oh, now, wow. This is top 5 best-selling VHS tapes of all time.
Wow. What's a VHS tape?
Exactly. For our younger audience, don't fucking worry about it. Google. I'm not explaining VHS to you. You're a few generations of technology behind.
These were big rectangular-like plastic bricks with film inside them that you would put into a VCR player.
And they put pictures on the screen of a tube TV.
On a tube TV, yes.
All right. Top 5 best-selling VHS tapes of all time. All right.
All time.
Now, you can probably assume there's going to be a bunch of Disney on here because they sell a bunch of this shit all the time. Mm-hmm. But number 5, Beauty and the Beast from Disney.
I think I still have that.
Yeah, probably do. It's in your collection right next to the princesses. It's 22 million copies sold. Yeah, and that was 1992 release.
1992.
Mm-hmm. In 1998 comes number 4, Titanic.
Oh, yes.
So, biggest movies of all time. It sold 25 million VHS copies.
And I remember that I think it was a 2 VHS set because the movie was over like 3 hours.
It was crazy.
So there you go. So you get to the end of one tape and you're like right in the middle of it, like, oh, is the ship gonna sink? It's like, hold on, I gotta put in another tape.
Yeah, I'd have to rewind it right away. All right. Number 3, 25 million copies. Aladdin, another one from Disney.
Aladdin.
Yeah, Aladdin. The good one.
The animated one.
Yeah, released in 1993.
The one with the true genie, not Will Smith in blue makeup.
Oh, we're jumping back to season 1. That's right. Number 2, another Disney classic,
Right.
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Personal favorite of Darrin right here.
You know what? I always got a thing for the dwarfs. Always got to represent the little guys.
So that was 1994 and the VHS debut. And The Lion King, obviously from Disney, is number 1 on our list, selling 32 million copies.
Hakuna Matata.
Uh-huh. So that's that. That's our top 5. That's a lot of VHS tapes that are still out there. In somebody's attic.
Yeah, exactly. There's in someone's grandmother's basement, probably.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm surprised, like the other ones that didn't make the list, like Godfather 1 or 2.
Well, I have 5 more honorable mentions.
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
Number 6 was one of my favorite movies of all time, Independence Day.
Another
That's
Will
right.
Smith.
Number 7.
Between last week's rant about Will Smith, the latest movie coming out, and this, he's getting a lot of airtime on our podcast.
We should be getting paid. He's a billionaire. All right. Number 7, Jurassic Park.
Yes. Yeah.
Number 8, Toy Story.
Yeah.
Number 9, damn Disney and Pocahontas. And number 10 is, again, in Darren's collection, Cinderella.
We all need that Prince Charming, Jake.
So you can see people are used to buy up at least VHS tapes of all the Disney movies for their whole collections. So
one of my most obscure VHS tapes that I do have is a classic comedy. I guess I don't know if we call it comedy or dramedy. I guess you want to call it. It was White Man Can't Jump with Woody Harrelson and
Wesley Snipes.
Wesley Snipes, yeah.
Yeah,
Great
that's
movie.
right.
Very underrated movie.
It is. It was very funny.
Yeah, it's great. So that was a good job on the top 5. Give you a lot to think about. So there you go. I'm sure all those Disney fanatics out there have every single one of them on VHS.
Yeah. There we go, people.
Mm.
All right. So let's take a little break in our show and introduce you to a couple of guys from Los Angeles.
Hello.
For our music feature today is a couple of guys call themselves Young Goats, and they just released a brand new album called Goat Life Volume 1. Right? Right, but it's a mix of like 90s and early 2000s hip hop type of style.
Okay.
And they're from LA, so it's a cool vibe. Nice drive around summer type of thing. And we could use some of that. It's beautiful outside today.
Yep.
And we're gonna share all their stuff on our pages. Really cool song to listen to. What we're going to play for you guys today is one of their main tracks. That it's called "Take You With Me," and they have a music video for it. I've been listening to it for a couple days. It's pretty catchy. You have like 77,000 views on it, so it's pretty decent. That's good. Check it out. It's a really cool track. And their album just came out this summer. Like I said, Goat Life Volume 1. And there is a lot of tracks in this album. There's 15 tracks in this album. You can download it anywhere you guys download music. Check it out. But right now, we're going to play for you guys their newest single, Take You With Me, Young Goats, right here on the ADG podcast.
Glad man. Yeah, man, original team, man. Shout out, yo, Suave.
Hey, I'm not a singer, but I'm singing motion vivid. How we gifted writing this song on the liquid far away, but in your spirit, how you screaming from Miami. When I get you to my city, I'm taking you with me. Whoa. Okay, let me come right back, packing all my feelings, and I didn't even bring it back. Showing all my thoughts to you, so back up you enjoy the view. A couple things I never do, I'm saying all it all to you. But really what's new, haven't been here in a minute, time expensive, lose my senses. Looking at you from a distance, when respect, don't trust parents. Everything's not what it seems, have to go the way to the ending. Look, waiting on me, getting heavy, puts that shit, I hope you ready. We condition strong enough for people, since nobody stop or keep us winning, run around, I'm doing deals. Gotta keep the head spinning, I'm swimming in the tears of these bitches and niggas who talk down to me, but I can hear it cause I'm on the rooftop building, throwing money, but you lose, driving past you, control, chilling straight on close. And I'ma take you with me, roof open out in my city, hair blowing Can I come in between no middle? She bilingual, speaking Spanish is my single. Intuition collect crystals up a nipple. She blow my whistle and I'm never holding back. Release my thoughts on you. You can't catch them and you drop them. Tell hate me cause you confused. New Quan, NQ, ID, blue, cool, brown. Eyes like a curse, the way to bring me to you. Going fast but you can't hear him, so let me talk too clearly and I love when you make my body high. Psychedelic in your mind, cognitive and go blind. Rolling diamond shots, well, never waste your time. And I just want you for myself. Young and in a prime, real final line. Dream chase, but I'm awake. Far behind, chasing Drake. Want the fame, won't trade it for anything. Hey, and I'ma take you with me. Roof open up in my city. Hair blowing back, cause it's so windy. Then I don't say all hating. Hey, baby, so free lately. I just want you for myself, ain't no sharing. Ripping off fabric plug, what you wearing. Living life, love is bad, she a blessing. Hey, would you ride for me? Will you die for me? I'm trying to find my queen. I'm trying to do some things. Cruise, I bet she kinda rude, but a freak. I lick her down till she weak. Peach tastes like tangerines, and he came to see me. We not leaving 7th Street. Catch a hick and roof and lounge. How you eating? Kids around you, all I'm seeing. This my town, it's hard to breathe. But taken by the sound you're feeling. So aroused, but you not speaking. Stay away, some better dream. I take you with me for a reason. Feet up, being no for season. Disposition like a season. I'm trying to give you something to believe in. I'm trying to be a nigga, change your life. Arrange like you married and all these diamonds till you frostbite. On the islands by the ocean, throwing coke and doing yoga, spreading legs, slow motion, rubbing lotion. Now I'm going, hey, and I'ma take you with me. Roof open up in my city. Hair blowing back cause it's so windy. Then I done say all hating. Hey, baby, so free lately. I just want you for myself, ain't no sharing. Ripping off every clothes, what you wearing. Living life, love is bad, she a blessing. Hey.
Young Suave baby. Young Suave baby. Yeah. Young Suave baby.
I say, hey.
All right, so that was Young Goats. Take You With Me on the A to G podcast.
Exactly. That I think that's a good jamming tune. That's a good cruising song, I guess.
Exactly. You got a little feel for it. That's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Nice little LA style. But yeah. All right, so let's. You know what, Darren?
Yes, sir.
What's our next trailer for today?
Ooh, we have a good one. And if you're a fan of the Terminator franchise, we have a brand new trailer from that's I believe Jake picked this one this year. Picked this one
today.
this week. I believe it's Terminator Last Fate, I believe. I believe that's.
I will tell you right now. It's Dark Fate. Terminator's Dark Fate.
Terminator Dark Fate. See, we're already on the ball here when it comes to this. So obviously, Jake, you saw it, and I've seen the trailer a couple times. It's good to see Linda Hamilton back in action. It's she's gotten really old.
Yeah, of course, but they're tying in especially the first and second Terminator more into this one. They're kind of tying up loose ends and kind of going back to original type of franchise story here. So look, like what you expect from a Terminator movies. Like the second one's obviously my favorite. I did watch all of them. Some of them were nonsense, but some of them were pretty good.
Yeah.
But this looks like more of a detailed and an over the top at the same time type of movie. Again, what are you gonna expect from the Terminator? Arnold makes an appearance, a bunch of one-liners, explosions everywhere, a bunch of robots not dying. exactly what you expect from the Terminator franchise, and I think this is gonna be going, one of the better ones. If some of those movies just watch and
I really
Terminator.
I really think for the Terminator purists, this movie is for them. If you're a fan of 1 and 2, then this one will be for you, because I think they, them reuniting some of the original cast back for this one and introducing some new talent into the franchise can always prolong this franchise even longer. I don't know if there's another one in the works after this, but anytime James Cameron is involved in a film, you know it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, and they did go all out on this one, so a blockbuster, big budget type of movie. So it's like enough. It looked good enough for me to actually want to go see it. So I what are we doing this out of 5 or out of 10? I don't remember anymore.
Let's well,
3 episodes in.
After last week, I was seeing red. Well, let's just make it out of 5.
Out of 5, yeah. I'll give it a 3 out of 5. Like I want to go see it, but I'm not gonna miss it if I don't see it, because then I'll catch it when it comes out eventually. But I'm definitely gonna go see it one way or another. There
you go. For me, I like the trailer. I've seen it a couple times. I've seen it in a theater and also online. And yeah, like I said, like Jake said, a lot of great action. Obviously, you know, one of the great franchise of our day. You know, coming back. I would give this a solid 4 out of 5.
Ooh, wow, nice.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah. So joining us on the ADG podcast, we have a special guest, and not only special for joining us on the ADG podcast, but he is one of the original members of the ADG club itself back at St. Clair College. Nathan Carr, you know him as Nathan Carr on 89X radio. He joins us on the ADG podcast. Nathan, how are you, sir?
Hey guys, how you doing? Yeah, one of the original members for a brief period of time. I think I was in some classes. Yes.
Exactly. So we're all from the St. Clair College in the Windsor area, and in the room ADG back at St. Clair College, the old building before they moved to the brand new state-of-the-art mediaplex in downtown. But Nate, I want to get your thoughts on you going through the journalism program in ADG at the St. Clair College.
You know what, man? Not being a graduate of the program and having been there for the 1 year, I was thinking back to my time, and I was like, well, you know what? I spent too much time at the pub and not in the classrooms. But the one thing, man, I really and truly got out of it was the radio class with Dave Harrison there, who I know is still with the program, I believe, and was somebody that kind of turned me on to radio. And when I got in there and I started doing something in a class that was primarily print heavy, as you recall. Yeah. The radio side of things just kind of showed me a new gateway to go and branch off. And I said, you know what, maybe I can go do more of this and actually kind of pursue it.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. Because from there, you actually started at AM 800 as part of the A team and the promotion side, right?
Yeah, dude, I came into this like basically all the wrong ways that you could do radio. I took the longest road. I had reached out to them at AM 800 and CKLW at then Chum Radio Windsor, and I had said, you know, I'm looking to go away for radio class at Niagara College, which was where I was heading, and said, like, is there anything I can do within reason and not sounding creepy? I just basically begged myself out there, and I ended up finding myself in the copy department just dubbing old things on the AM 580 station, like the Elvis Hour and Sinatra Hour, and anything brutal that they could throw at me was basically how I started cutting my teeth into the industry.
Right. So from there, you went to Niagara College to hone your skills and your craft. And then what happened after Niagara?
Darrin, you stop. You're calling me special. You're telling me that I have these.
What? Come on, you're a living, you're a legend when it comes to
I went to the pub a lot. After Niagara was actually, I came back to Windsor there for a brief period of time. They were thankfully, I guess, happy maybe to have me back on the A team for a little bit. Did a little promotion work and just kind of kept bombing the resumes out. Using the websites like Milkman Unlimited and just kind of scouring the web for that first break. It wasn't coming at CKLW or at any of the radio stations here at the time. There was no openings. It was tight. It was tough to get into. And I found myself all the way in the booming metropolis of, are you ready for it, boys? Dryden, Ontario.
Wow.
Nice.
You know, hey, it takes a
breaking news in Dryden.
Drive
Yeah.
in the middle of cold hell. There's an ice hell. That's where Dryden is.
So was that when you worked for Chorus Media?
No, that was you know what? That was I think that was Acadia Broadcasting, Acadia Northwoods, up there. So that was before Chorus. I ended up going from Dryden out of there. I ended up picking a job in promotions in Cornwall, Ontario, which was with Chorus Entertainment.
Okay. So what would you say your experience like being in the promotional side here in Windsor, and then your craft? Was there a lot of similarities from being on-air talent to promotions, because you still have to do like live call-ins and tell people where you are and what's going on, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it teaches you some of the fundamentals and maybe just how to stay a little bit organized. Maybe a little bit how to write, how to flex some of those improv skills as well. I started off, man, when I was doing that traveling trailer stuff, I was writing everything down, and I was thinking that I had to be, so picture perfect and professional. I mean, not that I'm not professional, but I started loosening up a little bit and doing a lot of it off the cuff and observational stuff, and just kind of having that experience to get your foot in the door. And I mean, AM 800 was a huge station too, right? So you weren't reaching like very little people with a broadcast. Having those cut-ins on, it was kind of like you were on that big league station doing those live hits for AM 800, and most of the time they were live.
Oh, absolutely. So it's kind of like baptism by fire.
Yeah, that's radio in a nutshell, man. If you sink or swim, or you just get thrown into the fire, that's usually the best way to learn, and that's how I've gained a lot of my experience through massive failure.
So from that, talk to me about you doing the morning show with your then co-host Gentry, and just tell me like the difference between doing promotions and little hits there to actually being on a morning show with someone else and being the first thing that people hear when they're on their way to work.
Well, I got lucky. I got lucky being able to work with her and somebody that certainly tolerated my stupidity to the degree that she did. We were kind of of the same creative mind, so it made things easy to roll in and work. It didn't make things easy to get up for, because 4 a.m., 3:30 a.m. still sucks no matter. On the afternoons now, and much happier. I'm more well rested too. But in the mornings, I mean, in a small community like Cornwall, it's phenomenal, dude. You really feel like you're kind of one of those in town, like small level celebrities. Cornwall makes you feel that way. You would be at the grocery store shopping, and people would approach you and tell you about things that they heard, or ask you questions, or in my case, call me an idiot for things that I had said. You're much more a part of their lives there, and they feel more comfortable to come up and talk to you, I guess, which is pretty cool and something special that you find in a small market.
Exactly. And I remember watching like some of your Facebook videos from your time in Cornwall with Gentry. Like how much of that was just off the cuff or improv skills, or were you required to do that, or is this something that you wanted to bring to the show and to gain more listeners?
That was all us, man. It wasn't something we were required to do. It was certainly something we came in and we replaced kind of a long-running morning show at the time. So how were we going to make things a little bit younger and a little bit different for everybody? The other two had not really done a lot of the video stuff, or social media stuff too, was just kind of getting bigger at the time. So doing the video thing, all that, man, was we'd like to say that most of that was one take. If it was terrible, it was still going up anyways. We didn't want to censor or edit ourselves too badly if we looked stupid, unless her hair was out of place, and she'll kill me for saying that. We usually just roll with the one take that we got.
One take wonder. I like it.
Yeah, unless the hair was messy, then we had to get it, or the camera angle wasn't right. Sometimes you got to be careful of that stuff, I guess.
That's it.
I wasn't gonna look any better no matter what angle I was on. So we were comfortable just to
You're probably just happy that you didn't break the camera, right?
Yeah. I got into radio for the Face for Radio bit, and then radio's not like that anymore. It's very social driven, and you gotta have that face out there.
Right.
Well, now that you mentioned that, I don't know if you heard our first season of our show. We try to engage our former program that has expanded to being a giant 3-year program with an extra year of conversions. And knowing how that applies now, how valid is St. Clair College's third year of convergence, which I'm assuming it's way more based on all different types of media. How does that apply to everything that you have to do?
I mean, I think with all the competition out there on social platforms, you got to be very versatile, man. You got to be able to adapt quickly, and we see that a lot of the people that aren't adapting are the ones that are disappearing from the industry. It's largely important to be active on the Facebook, and I called it the Facebook, which isn't a great example. But Facebook and Instagram and which I have trouble with too sometimes. And then there's Twitter, and then you got Snapchat coming out. There's a lot of things to make a part of your show and to try and be on top of. Is it crucial? Not necessarily, but it's certainly becoming a bigger part of the world.
Now, from what we have, something like we have to do, and I'm sure you have to do, is kind of engage your audience, keep them interested, so they keep coming back and watching or listening your show. Do you think that we're on the same page? We've gotten some education on this. We're out in the industry a little bit. You more than us, obviously, but how important is that? Because we know it's important to engage your audience, but how much should we engage your audience? Because I know the program does not teach that at all.
I mean, here's the thing. Coming from a small market, that's something that you learn is very quickly is really about everything you're doing in radio is engaging your audience. And that comes down to what you're doing on social media, to how you behave in the community and going to these events and representing the station. You want to be able to talk to them. I find certain Facebook posts might seem a little simplistic and basic when it comes down to trying to think of what's a good example of, the debates and the stupid debates that are out there on the internet. If people are talking about it, man, throw it up there and get some opinions, because that can always lead to bigger topics. It can lead to different strands of a topic. Your audience has really become a part of your show, and if you don't make them a part of your show, then you're probably going to lose.
That's well said, because those little factors is all about engaging the audience and getting their reactions, either good or bad, to either listen in and turn on 89X to listen to you.
Right, and staying current, so everybody knows exactly what's up to date, and that's how you keep them around.
Exactly.
You want to see some of the negative comments, just go scroll through our Facebook page.
Those aren't too hard to find. They're out there very easily.
That's okay. It's all I love it either way.
Exactly. So Nate, just tell me a little bit about you decided to come back to Windsor. Obviously, the opportunity at 89X was available, and then you got the job. Just tell me, like, what is it about 89X? Because we know growing up in this area, 89X was like the station, all the way back from Dave and Chuck the Freak, and we know where their career is taking them now. So, like, what was it about 89X that attracted you for that opportunity, and also you got to like coming back home to Windsor?
I think really that it was becoming more and more a Windsor station. I mean, I found it hard to believe when I had talked to some of my friends that they didn't know the station was based out of Windsor. And for a long time, it had been branded a Detroit radio station. So I think what kind of drew me the most to it was just the direction of it becoming a little more community focused here. Still, we can't ignore stateside, and nor would we. We have a lot of wonderful listeners there, and all the great shows are going there as well. But we've become more of this Windsor station, and being a local, having grown up not only with 89X but grown up in Windsor, it was a no-brainer decision to get back home. And plus, I miss the frickin' pizza, man.
It is.
I swear on the podcast, I miss the fucking pizza.
That's
okay. We have the explicit rating. We're good.
It's all good. So like, you got married recently, is this right?
Yeah, I did. I dragged my wife from Montreal all the way down the 401. It's like, we're going down the street. I tell her it was 8.5 hours down the street, 9 hours down the street. But yeah, we did. We got married last October, and I'm nearly surviving a full year of marriage.
Oh, well, that's always a good sign. You know, as long as you and Jake can tell you he's been married for quite some time. He knows what it's like.
I tell you that stored away in the bedroom right now, basically whispering into my phone very quietly.
So how is she liking the living in Windsor?
Yeah, it's a change. Well, it's a big step up from Cornwall. So
Yes.
we kind of I took her down from Montreal to Cornwall and then brought her into Windsor too. So I put Cornwall kind of in the middle there. So the transition wouldn't be as hard.
There you go. So
Thinking
there
ahead
you
right
go.
Thank
That's
you.
it.
Well, I got one for you. To kind of summarize everything we've been talking about. Since we know there's enough journalism students listening to this podcast, even though they don't engage us because for whatever reasons they're told not to. Now, what is your advice for someone who successfully made it to where you are now into the industry, which is extremely hard to do? What's your advice to those guys?
Hey man, yeah, it is extremely hard to do, but be persistent. A lot of people are going to tell you no. A lot of people might tell you that it's not worth it. A lot of people will make jokes about money on the outside of things. Sometimes it seems like, do you really want to do this? I tell you, man, I wake up loving what I do every single day. Every day is different for me. It's a bit of a challenge for me every day, and I wouldn't have it any other way. This career has given me so many great opportunities to meet people, to learn things, and continue to educate myself. If you love radio, my advice is stick with it. Learn new things. Always be open-minded to learning new things, because the minute you start closing doors, you're only closing them on yourself.
There you go.
That's
Sound
good
advice.
Exactly. So Nate, we want to thank you for joining us on the ADG podcast. Make sure before I let you go, just let the people know where they can hear you and what time they can hear you and all that.
Dude, I gotta say, and I'll come back too, man. You called me special, told me I had skills.
See, that's what we do. We kill you with kindness here.
Sound advice. So yeah, it's a no-brainer. You can hear me every day on 89X, 88.7 FM. If you're unaware of the frequency, I'm on from 2 until 6, Monday through Friday. And sometimes they kick me out of bed early on a Saturday, and I come in there too. So listen, we're changing, we're growing. 89X is sounding honestly better than it ever has in my ears. And I'm not just saying that because I work there. I'm saying that as a fan of new rock music and a fan of what's going on here in Windsor.
That's fantastic. Nate, we want to thank you for joining us on the ADG podcast.
Guys, thank you so
we'd love
much.
to have you back on again.
All right, I'll do that, guys. Rock on, all right?
All right, thanks a lot, Nate.
Thanks, man.
No problem.
All right, guys, so there you go. There's another radio personality that graced the room of ADG. So hope you guys enjoyed that little interview there.
Yes, all the way from Cornwall, Ontario.
And now in Windsor. Back in Windsor.
Back in Windsor.
Awesome. But you know what, Darrin?
What's that?
Well, let's turn it around back to football for a second here. Because I have to rant again.
Okay.
And I had a garbage person of the week this week, but I'm like, I got to confess to something here.
Okay.
This is very important because last week I said something, and I think it's stupid now. And I was wrong, and I'm willing to say it on this show. I was wrong.
Hold on. We are recording, right? We are recording. Okay.
I'm going to cut that out. No, I'm kidding. I was wrong, and I was wrong on only one level. Yes, the Detroit Lions look good on paper. Yes, there are some vitals there that they are capable of doing things. But my prediction last week when I said 10-6 in playoffs is so damn off because when you actually get to look at the product on the field and what this team is barely going to win 6 games in total this year. Just by an eye test of what you see on that field, I was wrong in my assumption, and I'm willing to say that. Mm-hmm. And it's not going to change week to week. Well, no, if they beat the Chargers this week, I'll be like, oh my God, yeah, playoffs again. No, it doesn't work like that. You just took a loss, basically a loss, because a tie is not a win, so it's basically a loss. It's not a win, and it doesn't get you any further. Now you have to win more games. Mm-hmm. So, and in this division, with Green Bay being Green Bay, which, you know, looked like it had a decent defense, and Chicago's had a decent defense, and Minnesota just throwing points up on the board all over the place. I don't know. Like, I don't think we'll be getting out of the basement this year either.
Yeah. And obviously you have every right to rant about that because, like you said, it takes a win away, and we have to find another win somewhere on the schedule. But when it comes down to it, like, how many wins will it actually take to win this division, though, Jake?
10.
You think 10?
Minimum. Yeah.
I
There's
think
no 10 wins on the schedule.
I think 9 will do it.
No way.
Because the Bears don't look that great. Vikings, yeah, they look great, but it's one game, and Atlanta is trash.
Well, we have to play the Bears, the Green Bay, and the Vikings 6 times, so there's 6 losses, right?
well, you know the old saying that a division game is worth 2, because,
right?
You know, so
right. So plus you have to play the Chiefs, not winning that one.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, it doesn't look good.
But them playing them at home, you always got a shot when you're playing at home.
Yeah, we had a shot of winning this last game too, and you lionized it. So yeah, you play the college team with superstar running wide receiver. That's all they had, and you got shut down at the end of the game. So I don't believe in this team anymore. Just because of the eye test, that's not going to change, even if they beat the Chargers this week, which they will not. But that's just how I feel, and it's official. Fuck the Lions.
That's it.
I'm still gonna watch.
Jake is done, but he's still gonna watch.
Still gonna watch.
You know,
not winning anything. I'm still watching.
So much for being positive into the football season. After week 1, they didn't win, but they didn't lose. They tied, and we're like, we're done. Fuck this team. We're done.
Well, they did it in a Lion-esque fashion.
They did it.
Lionized it.
It can only happen to the Lions.
Right.
Not one team, not your Cleveland Browns, not your New York Giants, not your Jacksonville Jaguars could do what the Lions do.
Nope, not even shitty ass Miami with Tease Tabor being on their staff is going to blow.
Oh my god!
So there you go.
Exactly, because I would rather lose by 50 points like Miami did than lose the way we did.
Exactly.
By giving up 18 points in the fourth quarter.
That's right.
Well, Jake, this has been a fantastic episode.
It's been a good one.
Yeah, we had some great music. We had some great interviews. If you want to check out more of the ADG podcast, we're everywhere. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the social media. We're there. And
every podcast app,
iHeartRadio, we just got on. So for all you Android users out there, check us out. ADG Podcast on iHeartRadio, iTunes. We've been there since the beginning, so check us out there. And if you have any comments, concerns, questions, or a suggestion for a top 5, email us adgpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll definitely try to get it up there.
There you go. So for episode 3 of season 2, I'm Jacob,
and I'm Darrin,
and this is. Wow, fuck that up.
We got to keep that bit for next year.
Spice. What was I trying to say? I don't know what I was trying to say.
You were trying to say, and we are ADG.
Yeah, and I'm like, and this is CBS.
And this is, and this is what, CNN? Oh my God! All right, hold on.
Don't pay me enough for this podcast. All right, so for the ADG podcast, I'm Jake,
and I'm Darrin.
And we are ADG.
Yeah, we are.